More nations are tightening their borders as a historic number of refugees flood into Europe. Hundreds of thousands are making the dangerous journey to escape violence and poverty.
More than 30 migrants, nearly half children, drowned when their boat capsized near Greece Sunday. Hungary is sending nearly 900 policemen to the Hungarian-Serbian border. Charlie D'Agata has more.
They don't trust the police, and they fear going onto buses means being sent off to reception centers and made to register in Hungary. This morning, we watched something else happen for the first time. We followed a bus of migrants who were taken to a train station headed to Austria, straight out of Hungary. After the horror stories he'd heard of getting trapped, Ami Azan from Damascus was dumbfounded.
What's happening? This train goes to Austria, yeah, and from Austria we are going to Sweden.
So many before him got stuck here for days, pressured to register for asylum before traveling onward.
Happy. We are the one who closed the door.
Very lucky.
Very lucky. I'm really lucky.
Hungary is about to close the door. Harsh new laws going to affect this week to keep the migrants out, and they've sent troops to catch anyone who still manages to get in. We've even seen prison inmates enlisted in the race to finish the razor wire fence between Hungary and Serbia. Things just got tougher on the other side of their journey, too. German officials who have seen hundreds of thousands of migrants pour into that country said it's reaching its limits and decided to temporarily introduce border controls, meaning migrants may be leaving here but not actually able to get there. Stuck in the middle again.
And Charlie D'Agata joins us on the phone from Hungary's border. Charlie, with more police heading to the border, how are people handling this?
Well, you know, the tension is definitely going up. We saw this weekend hundreds of more forces there that we hadn't seen before. And these aren't just police, these are military. And they're heavily armed, and they're guarding that border area. The big unknown right now is they say that they're going to close off the sort of 3 or 4 segments of fence there. It's probably 25 feet. Where we've seen all those pictures along the railway line where people are just streaming through. Now, that's the main crossing into Hungary, and that's where they're being picked up, and that's when they're sent onto buses, and that's where they are sort of persuaded, I suppose is the word, to register here. And they don't want to do that because they fear that they'll be stuck here rather than going to places like Germany and Sweden because they've already applied here. And you know, those fears are founded because Germany has said that they are now going to look back on the so-called Dublin Agreement, which says if you have already applied for political asylum in another country and that country is safe, there is an argument for sending you back there instead of staying in Germany.
Charlie, as more countries like Hungary tighten their borders, what kind of effect do you think that's going to have? Because it seems like a possibility that there would just be a bigger flood of people trying to get in very quickly to these countries.
You know, that's exactly what's happening, especially here in Hungary. The grapevine is incredible. People have cell phones and they WhatsApp each other and they're on to Facebook. So they will have heard, the people that we spoke to today said, we know that they're about to close that gate. So they ran as fast as they could. They walked all through the night in order to get into Hungary for fear of being locked out. Now they also know that Germany is tightening the borders. Austria is tightening the borders. Slovakia is tightening the borders. You cannot stop the flow of migrants. It's like putting a finger in a dam one way. They're just going to spread out in other areas, and that's what we're going to see happen. And, you know, I've followed the migrant trail from Macedonia and Serbia to Hungary all the way through Austria and then into Germany, which is, you know, where many people want to head. If you put a bottleneck anywhere along that border, we had 10,000 people cross into Hungary over the weekend. You close that gate, what's going to happen?
Such dire conditions. Charlie D'Agata, thanks so much for your reporting.